Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, this is Brian Severson. You're listening to the New Warehouse podcast. My safety tip is to treat all of your aisles as if they were a busy street. Look both ways and stay alert when you're walking around, especially when you're walking around corners. There's a lot of things going on in the warehouse, and you very much need to stay alert and know what's going on around you.
With e-commerce off the charts, many small and growing warehouses are asking, how can I get ahead when my warehouse is barely keeping up? The answer is future-ready warehouse tech from Zebra Technologies. Warehouses can simplify and upgrade all processes, from automated inventory management to hands-free picking, with Zebra's tailored, scalable mobile solutions. They're simple and intuitive. There's never been a better time to upgrade for success with Zebra. How can your warehouse get ahead? The answer's in black and white. Get the answers at zebra.com/theanswer. That's zebra.com/theanswer. Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am joined by Brian Severson. He is the president at B&C Logistics, and B&C Logistics is based out of the Chicago area. 3PL focused on distribution and warehousing, and also maintaining a food-grade warehouse, and also working a lot with sellers that want to sell to Walmart and helping small businesses distribute on a larger scale. So we're going to talk to Brian today about B&C, what it is they do specifically, and some of the challenges in maintaining food-grade warehouses. And we're also going to ask him, what is OTIF and MABD? So, Brian, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, Kevin. How you doing?
Doing well. Happy to connect with you and learn more about you guys and yourself as well. So, why don't you tell us, what is B&C Logistics and what is it that you guys do?
Like you mentioned, B&C Logistics is a 3PL, but I don't like to think of us as like your traditional 3PL.
Okay.
We take more of a consultative approach when we work with our clients. I would say that we're kind of a combination of between a 3PL and a 4PL, if you will. We realize that not everybody needs the same type of service, which is why we customize all of our solutions to meet our clients' needs. In most instances, the clients that we work with are smaller to mid-sized companies. They don't truly have their own warehouses. They're not large enough to have their own warehouses. They might not have their warehouses in the United States. We work with a lot of people up in Canada and overseas as well. But they truly don't understand exactly how things go with getting their product from their factory or overseas from the rail yard or the port to the retailers or even direct to their consumers. So that's kind of where we come in.
Okay.
We have the ability, we have the knowledge, we have the expertise to get their product off of the factory floor and truly to the customer's door. We'll handle everything in between. A lot of people think of it as more of like your middle mile, but I kind of think of it as like the whole entire trip, because, the client handles the factory and where the product gets made. The client handles where the product is sold from either being a retailer or website or Amazon or anything like that. Mm-hmm. We can handle everything in between. They can call us and say, hey, it's ready to go. We'll send the truck in. We'll go pick it up. We'll bring it in our warehouse. We'll handle everything in between. We'll handle the compliance of shipping into the retailers. We'll make sure that everything complies as far as shipping into Amazon. We do work with Walmart. We work with Target. We work with Kroger. We work with several different retailers, a lot of the dollar stores as well. And, everything has different compliance needs. So, that's truly where we come in to help them and to consult them along the way with compliance, with, like you mentioned, OTIF and MABDs, and, to keep them in good graces with the retailers and to help them out.
All right, interesting. Yeah. And I think companies like yours are playing such a more integral part in businesses because, especially with the progression in e-commerce and smaller companies springing up and people moving more online, there's oftentimes the idea is coming from someone that has really no supply chain or logistics warehousing background at all. So they need that kind of support. So, and, like you mentioned, some of the big players that you guys deal with, I mean, they're, oftentimes they're pretty rigid in what they demand, and rigid might
strict.
be.
Yeah. They're just flat out strict.
Yeah, I was going to say rigid might be understatement.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But so, one of the things too, I think before we, get into that discussion about those guys, what you also on the website, I noticed that, you're very proud of the food grade warehouse and the achievements that you've been able to achieve meeting standards there. So I guess first, before, we talk about some of the challenges in maintaining that, why don't you give, what is the definition of a food grade warehouse for those that might not be familiar?
Well, food grade warehouse is basically we have a third party come in and audit us, and we maintain certain levels of standards, to be able to handle food. We're registered with the FDA. We're audited by AIB, and that's, we're I don't want to use the word certified, but, because they don't certify us, but we are able to handle food. And, anybody that is doing business with a retailer, or, anything that they supply food for, you want to make sure that you're in a food grade warehouse, because we have to live up to certain standards, and we have to live up to have certain processes and procedures in place to make sure that, we can alleviate any sort of a risk of, basically harming somebody.
Right. Definitely. And very important aspect there as well. And especially, we just mentioned kind of the smaller businesses needing that help on the distribution side. And, a lot of times, if you're a smaller business and you have a food type product, like you mentioned, you don't want to harm anybody. It could be, for a small business, that could be the death of the business.
Right? Oh yeah, it could be the end of them.
Yeah.
And it's really, and that could be the same thing, if you're not in a food grade warehouse and something happens, like you said, it could be the death of the company, but it also could harm an individual or a kid or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it's very important. It could kill somebody, really, truly.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're following everything. And that's what the approach is that we take with everything is, this is going to go out to different consumers, and this is going to be, consumed by children. Right. And we want to make sure that, we're not the cause of any sort of an issue there. That's why we maintain that high level.
Definitely, absolutely. So in maintaining, there's some challenges that come with that. So talk to us about some of the challenges in maintaining a food grade warehouse.
We'll be back after a quick break. You hear a lot about supply chains these days because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
It's a lot of extra steps. A food grade warehouse, it's always adding steps to your processes, to your procedures. And you have to abide by those, and you have to document those processes and those procedures. We have to, just to give an example, like every inbound and outbound truck that comes in, no matter if it's LTL or if it's a full truckload, we have to inspect that trailer. We have to make sure that there's no issues with that trailer. We have to make sure that there's no problems with that trailer. Same for outbound. We have to inspect everything. It's on us to make sure that everything's right with that trailer. There's no holes in it. There's nothing you can't see outside through it. I mean, you'd be surprised. There's so many trailers that come in, and if it's raining outside, it might be raining in the trailer.
Right.
Or you can truly just see a hole in the trailer. I mean, we had a carrier come in the other day. We opened up our door. We opened up the door of the trailer, and there was a bird in it. We're like, you can't, you got to get out of here and get the bird out of here before we can even think about working with you, and then we'll inspect the rest of it and see if there's no droppings or anything like that in that trailer. So I mean, there's just so much with it that every time that our auditors come in, they're looking at our processes, they're looking at our procedures, they're making sure that everything's being followed. They want to know, and they'll walk around and they'll talk to certain people on the warehouse floor, and they'll give them certain examples or certain hypotheticals and say, well, what do you do in this situation? They want to make sure that your entire staff is trained on what to do. As with a food grade warehouse, you can't just bring a pallet in and put a pallet somewhere, off of a truck anywhere in the warehouse.
Right.
There has to be, an assessment based on what it is. If it's food, it should be with food, and certain things like you can't store anything that's not food related above food. And a lot of people don't understand that and don't know that. But you also can't store an allergen above a regular pallet of food. So you have to really risk assess everything when it comes on inbound, and it's all risk. Like everything needs to be defined by risk. Like if I put this consumer product next to this food, like say, you have some soap or some sanitizer or something like that. You don't want to put that next to food because you don't know what's going to happen. And, everything is tracked. Like everything has to be tracked inbound. We need to know where that particular pallet was in our warehouse at all times in case there ever is a problem.
Right.
Everything has to be lot code tracked. There's just so many extra steps to it besides just, bringing a pallet in and putting a pallet on a rack. It's just all processes, procedures, and risk. And you need to make sure that your warehouse staff is aware of it and they know what needs to be done.
Definitely, yeah. And I think it's, you need a lot of training and standardization in place to make all that happen as well.
Yeah, and then processes. I mean, I'm sure that if we actually printed out all of our processes, that page would be, or that book would, be 2 inches thick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure. So now on the other side, talking about maintaining food grade warehouse and some of the challenges there, but we touched on, some smaller companies or companies in general. We're looking to work with a 3PL to help them on the distribution side. As a client or potential client, how can you go in when you're shopping for a 3PL and ensure that they will handle the food item properly? What type of things should you be looking for?
I would say that they should ask for the company that's doing the audit. Every food grade warehouse, if you're going to claim food grade, you need to be audited. And should talk to that particular warehouse about who did that audit and what the result of that audit was. Most of the ones in the U.S. are going to be done by MABD, and there's a few other companies out there. There's overseas, there's going to be BRC, there's going to be IPS. So, there's a lot of them that are going to be done in that way. But, you should always ask for the recognition document.
Right.
That recognition document is going to tell you the date that it was done, what the score was. You should always ask for the inspection results report, because that's going to be the Bible right there. The inspection results report is going to show you exactly what they looked at and exactly what they found. And anybody that doesn't want to give you that is hiding something. So, ask for the inspections report, because any red flag is going to be in that report. It's going to be on that document. From little things like the auditor noticed that somebody left the door open a little bit too long. That's going to be on that document.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there. So you review that document. That's how you're going to know if they really know what they're doing. The auditor's going to look through the processes. They're going to look through the procedures. Any deviation from that is going to be on that particular document, that inspection results report. Also ask for the IPM, the integrated pest management. Who does it? We use McLeod, and McLeod's a big company. They have an online portal. Like, I can pull it up right now and show it to you. Yeah. And it'll document everything in there and any sort of problem we had, down to how many flies they caught in the bug light. And it's going to show you everything. So, ask for that. Ask for the inspection report, ask for the recognition document, ask to see the IPM. It's all going to be in there. AID, they truly don't want to go out there and give somebody a perfect score. And it's going to be very, very rare for that to happen. It's kind of like your attorney. You go to your attorney with a contract, something's getting marked up on there.
Yeah, they're going to change it.
They need to justify their existence. And it's the same thing with AID. I don't want to say that they want to justify their existence, but they don't like giving perfect scores. Yeah. And it's very, very rare for that to happen. They'll pick at some certain little things just to make sure that, hey, this is why we came out.
And now a quick break to hear from our sponsor, Supply Chain Mavens. The past year has been full of fascinating and complex supply chain news, from shortages and forecasting challenges to issues with COVID-19 test components to the never-before-seen speed to market of the vaccine. In the past year, logistics and supply chain professionals like you have been nothing short of miracle workers. Supply Chain Mavens helps your team to continuously improve by developing tailored training solutions to enhance your team's competencies so they can successfully work across all aspects of supply chain. They offer exam preparation for the coveted APICS, certified in logistics, transportation, and distribution designation, as well as education in topics across the supply chain. Visit them at supplychainmavens.net/new warehouse to learn how they can help you advance your team's performance. That's supplychainmavens.net/new warehouse. Now back to the show. Yeah, it's interesting. You said even the number of flies in the bug light they find.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, I mean, it's.
So what's the threshold for how much is too much?
I don't know exactly how much is too much. It's really when he comes to you and tells you. I mean, Mike's the one that does ours, and he comes to me and he tells me, "Hey, you guys are doing good." Like, he's like, "You only had like 5 flies, and 2 of them were this type of fly, and one of them was this type of fly, and the other 2 were a different type of fly." And I'm like, "Well, who knew?" There's so much involved with different types of flies, but I get to learn about them every time that Mike comes in because he tells me about them. And, they'll tell you too, like, hey, in bait station 34, you had a little nibble in there. So we want to keep an eye on that one. Yeah. So, around the exterior of the building. So,
interesting.
I mean, they have it down to something that's incredible. And, I didn't know there were different types of flies. I thought a fly was a fly.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Apparently, certain flies don't fly above a certain height. It's really weird. I don't know.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think that's for a different podcast. We got to start a fly podcast. So yeah, I mean, really interesting, and it sounds like those reports and inspections, that's really the key for a client to know that like the 3PL is a good place for them to go. So
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
And visit the place. I mean, if you have the ability to. Right now, we don't have the ability to do that, but visit the place, or even do a video, like a FaceTime video. I've done FaceTime videos with potential customers, and most recently, and just walked them through the warehouse and showed them the warehouse, and that way they can see it.
Yeah,
you can see, is it clean? Like, I mean, that's your first key.
Yeah,
Is the place clean? Does it look clean? Would you be happy with your food being stored in that particular warehouse? There's some of them that I've been in before where it's like, wow, this is a food grade warehouse.
Yeah.
Interesting, but you need to look, and you need to look at the score. And you can even call AIB and talk to them about it and say what's a good score. And it'll show you that in the results report. But everybody should ask for that. Yeah. And if a company's unwilling to give you that, they're most likely going to be hiding something.
A little shady, yeah. Interesting. So, another thing that I guess, talking about scores and, being detailed and being audited and things of that nature. And, we mentioned some of the big guys out there like Walmart, Target, and those types of companies, they have a lot of guidelines and rules to follow. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because you guys, I saw on your website, you specifically mentioned kind of dealing with Walmart and being able to get these like smaller businesses up to the standard of Walmart to be met. And some of the things that are involved with that is as you mentioned, the OTIF and the MABD. So talk to me about, what is OTIF and what is MABD?
OTIF is on time in full. That's what it stands for. Making sure that the delivery gets there on time and it gets there in full with everything that's supposed to be on it, everything that they order. That's in a nutshell what OTIF is. MABD is must arrive by date. Okay. And the OTIF term did come out of Walmart, but traditionally everybody wants to follow in their footsteps and wants to be like them. So on time in full is really how we always want to operate and get the product out to the retailers for the clients that we work with. Every single order always needs to be there by its MABD. It's must arrive by date. And a lot of times somebody will call it a cancellation date too. If it's not there by a certain day, then they'll cancel it, cancel the actual order. Where we kind of get a little bit different is that a lot of 3PLs, they focus on the on time portion and they'll get it there. They don't really focus on the in full portion. Maybe they got some stock issues, or maybe something's a little bit off, and they'll get it there, but they don't focus on the in full portion. We work with our customers to really understand their supply chain and to understand the demand that they have for it. Our technology that we have, it not only provides a customer portal, it gives them real-time information to everything, the orders. It gives them real-time information to their inventory, but it also gives them historical data for what went out of our facility and where it went at certain times. We can provide them with the information that's going to give them the ups and the downs of their business so that they can plan better, and we can help them with that. We're able to analyze the data to really kind of discover the trends in certain areas, which is huge in the supply chain. You need to know, like, hey, in June, our demand is much higher, so we need to be able to provide that in full portion of it. OTIF and MABD, those are the two key words. Walmart's going towards SQEP also, and that's part of the Supplier Quality Excellence Program. Okay. I would assume that people will go that route. In other areas as well, but OTIF was really the term that came out, and they started to look at things and understand the demand of their stores and their customers, and trying to get things to certain places on certain times so that it's on the shelf for the customers. And right now with the pandemic, everything's a lot different, and it's hard to get things. I mean, the ports are jammed up like crazy. The rail yards are jammed up like crazy. It's hard to get things here. It's hard to get them out to the retailers, and everything is getting delayed. And you really need to understand your supply chain in order to make sure that you're meeting that OTIF and that MABD. Because if you don't, companies will find you. Yeah. And they'll find you like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And next thing you know, you just shipped something into them for free or on your dime because you were so far off with your supply chain that you messed it up, and and it didn't get there on time, and now you're dealing with all these fines, and you're going to fight the fines, and forget about even the fines. Like, you're going to go back at some point, and you're going to have a review with that retailer, and then that retailer is going to come back and say, well, you didn't make this MABD, your OTIF score is really low, and that's going to be based on whether you're going to expand your business in there. And we take that too to like the direct to consumer level. I mean, everybody right now from an e-commerce standpoint, which is something that we do also, and we have a major push into right now. Everybody wants everything now, and they want if they can't get it now, they got to have it tomorrow. Right. Or that's why Prime exists, because people want things now. Yeah. And I'm one of them too. Like I know that I mean, I'll pay more money to buy something that's Prime so that I can have it tomorrow or the next day versus something that's shipped to me and it's there in a week. I don't want it in a week. I want it tomorrow. And everybody's like that. And even my parents, my stepdad that's 87 years old, and my mom that's that's in her 70s. It's like they're shopping online right now. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty insane how things have changed, and like you mentioned, everybody's kind of geared in that sense now. And
it's all about right now. Everybody wants it right now.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So I'm curious, for the smaller businesses, obviously you guys have kind of mastered the guidelines and are able to navigate them for like smaller businesses as they're looking to scale and try and start to get into these bigger retailers. What advice would you give to them?
They need to choose the right partners. You need to choose somebody that really understands your business. You need to choose somebody that understands not only their business, like the customer going out there and looking for it, or the client out home. They need to understand the retailers. They need to understand where it's shipping to. Find somebody that really knows how to do that, and find somebody that understands that. I hear certain times that, a customer will choose somebody based on, the proximity to the port, out on the West Coast, or they'll choose somebody because they're manufacturing up in Canada, so they'll go up in the northern United States, and they'll choose that, but that doesn't help them. Maybe it helps them in a very short, minuscule part of the supply chain, because they're not paying as far to ship it. But when it comes back around, and it comes back around to the retailer is going to review them on an annual basis. Even if they're shipping collect, a lot of people are like, "Oh, we're collect, don't worry about it." The retailer will handle it. No, because that you're measured on that. Yeah. If you're shipping out of California and you're shipping to like a Dollar General or a Dollar Tree or something like that, which is primarily on the East Coast, and that's where most of their DCs are, somebody's eating that cost in between there to ship it all that way. And it might not be the person that's selling it, the customer, if you will. It might not be them, but it's going to affect them, because in the long run, you're going to be measured on that. And if you go back to that retailer and you say, "Hey, you know what? We want to bump this by 10. We want 10 more cents." Well, no, you're getting 10 less cents, because of all of our freight.
Yeah.
Our freight factors that we got to go back and forth on. So that's truly what it is. They need, but if you don't understand that, you're just looking at the numbers.
Yeah,
it makes sense. But you really need to have somebody that knows what they're doing. And if you're going to choose a partner, I mean, please don't choose a partner just based on price,
right?
Because that's going to backfire on you at some point. Make sure that they know what they're doing. Make sure that you choose the right partners, because that's truly what's going to be the success of your business.
Definitely, yeah. And I think that's a really good advice. Especially in kind of the warehousing logistics space. There's so many different intricacies, and especially if you're dealing with unique product or product that needs to be handled in a certain way. You don't want to go based on just price, as you mentioned. You want to make sure that you're.
And I understand, with our business that what we do and with the service that we provide might not be for everybody. Mm-hmm. You may just want somebody that's going to store it for you and ship it out. I mean, that's true too. And people have that need, and people want that. I mean, we can help with everything in between, and we can help with everything as far as the issues that you're going to encounter and the speed bumps you're going to go over. But some people don't want that, but just don't make it just about price, because that's going to backfire on you at some point.
Absolutely. Definitely. So Brian, really interesting advice, great advice actually, and interesting insights on kind of the industry from your perspective. So if people are interested in getting in touch with you or learning more about B&C Logistics, how can they do that?
You can go to our website at bclogisticsgroup.com, or they can call me directly at 779-255-1402.
Okay, great. And we'll put all the information on thenewwarehouse.com as well, so people can find it. So, Brian, thank you so much for joining me on the show today.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.